Here is my mini lesson called Where I'm From. Yesterday, students created their own 6-word memoirs. I used 6-word memoirs as a way to start getting them warmed up to writing in different genres as well as writing in the classroom. Today, students will create their own Where I'm From poem to see that memoirs can be written in different genres. More specifically, it can be written in a poem genre. I use a fill-in-the-blank template to help continue their transition into writing in the classroom. So we start off small with 6-word memoirs. Then we start off with using a fill-in-the-blank template for a poem. And each day we start writing a little bit more and more. And this helps with their mind as growing into the identity of being a writer. And it also helps them grow to understand that they can write more and more each day. For the lesson plan, I always highly suggest, if you haven't already, introduce and define or review the terms diction, denotation, connotation, and imagery. Once you guys have a discussion about that, then you can move on to the Where I'm From poem by Lyon. What I like to do is I like to read it out loud to students, and then I like to have them reread it and annotate it. And what they'll do is they will pick out key diction or key imagery. Then we'll have a class discussion about the key diction and the key imagery and what it means in the context of this poem. Then I will explain to the students that they are going to write their own Where I'm From poem. But before they can write their own Where I'm From poem, we should probably look at one more model, which is my Where I'm From poem. I highly suggest you create your own Where I'm From poem. That way you can show them the specific choices you made or the specific diction you chose to keep in your poem. And that's why I model mine, because I like to be able to explain to them the choices I made in my poem, just as Lyon chose to use certain pieces of imagery and certain diction. They will have to do the same thing, but it helps when I'm able to explain to them why I chose this piece. So if I turn around and ask them, why did you choose this piece? They should also be able to explain it to you. I would also put this up on the board. On the left-hand side, you have the original Where I'm From poem by Lyon, and then on the right-hand side, you have my Where I'm From poem. I would read it out loud, as I would read any poem, and then I would go back in, and I would read it again, line by line. And certain lines I would choose to look at a little bit deeper than others. For example, Fluffernutter. I would ask them, does anybody know what a Fluffernutter is? Because some students might not know what a Fluffernutter is. Then I explained to them that a Fluffernutter originates in Massachusetts, and it's so important that, in fact, we actually have a Fluffernutter Day. And I wanted to explain that I chose a Fluffernutter because I really identify with coming from Boston, and I really identify with being from New England, and that's really important to me, and I wanted to show my readers that because it's important to me, I want my readers to understand that that's what I identify with as well. Then you have the active involvement. Then you give them their own template. You give them the fill in the blank. And I also tell them what they can put in that blank. Now, they don't have to, but it's just a suggestion to help them get thinking about what they want to put in there or what they might want to take out or add. Why is this important? Well, authors use diction and imagery all the time to help convey the overall meaning and tone of their text. So just as authors choose their words carefully, I want my students to choose their words carefully. I also want my authors or my students to show and not tell. And how do authors do that? They use imagery. So this is another way to get them thinking about how they show and not tell things. Last but not least, I want students to understand that memoirs come in different genres and not just in books or novels. You have your 6-word memoir. Now we have a Where I'm From poem, and these both can be considered in the genre of a memoir.